We're now going to see how we customize our items in the database. Namely, we're going to customize the form from part 3, and we're going to customize the report from part 4, and we're going to submit screenshots to TickFP of those 2 modifications. So really what we're trying to do here when we customize is we want to make things better. And then finally, you're going to upload the entire database. You have to be able to find where the database file was saved. So let's start with the customization. Okay, so let's start with our form. Let's double click on it, and let's think here some things we can do. And it's really up to you. I mean, I'll accept any customization that makes the form look better. So the first thing I'm going to do is this FRM items is not very informative. It doesn't really look good. It doesn't give me enough information to know exactly what I am looking at. So that's the first thing I'm going to change. I'm going to change that. So let's close it and right click and go into design view. Okay. And there it is at the top. It's in a portion that is referred to as the header. Okay, there's also a trailer at the bottom, okay, or a footer rather, but we're not really making any use of the footer, so don't worry about that. So up here, let's put something a little bit more meaningful. We'll call this items in my home, okay. And I want to type more stuff in there. Maybe I want to type an address. So look what I do. I'm going to grab the handles here and pull that way out. Okay. And I can come back here, press enter, and I can maybe even put in my home address right here. So we just made a modification, and there's a lot more we can do to change the fonts and the way it appears, but we'll leave it like that for now. Let's go ahead and run the form to see what it looks like, and there it is, items in my home address. All right, what else can we do? Well, I see the serial number has a really huge field. That's probably a little bit too big, and the cost and the room number, and the sizes don't really seem to fit the data that's going to go in there. So let's make that our next customization. We're going to make these text boxes a more appropriate size. So again, let's go into design view. Let's close what we have here first. Okay, asks us, do you want to save the change you made? Always click yes, unless you want to discard. There it is. Now, we can go into design view, right click, design view, and let's resize these things a little bit. I think that's way too big for a serial number, so let's shrink it down to a more reasonable size. Okay, and item name, okay, you can have very big items, but I don't think that big, so I'm going to shrink that down a little bit. Cost, well, unless you're a billionaire, you don't need field that big for cost, and so on. Room and purchase date, and I'm going to leave purchase date the way it is. Now, what about the form itself? I think the form itself might be a little bit too big. So see what I did? I came over here and I grabbed it and I tried to shrink it down a little bit, but it is locked, and I have to figure out where the lock is and unlock it. No. Okay, we'll leave that one for now. And we can even move these items around. Maybe the thing you want to see first is not the item name. So watch what I do here. I'm going to grab this label for serial number and pull it down. I'm going to sweep across these other items, okay, like that. I'm going to push them up, okay, and then I'm going to come down here and grab serial number. Let's say that's the least interesting piece of information, and I'm going to put that right at the bottom. Okay, so let's take a look. We double click. Okay, so we can see the serial number at the bottom. we can see that we resized the text boxes and so on. So these are some of the changes that we can make to our form. I'm going to close this and I'm going to save it, and this is really up to you. Just make your form more attractive. There are many more things I can do here. I'm just going to do one more thing. You see there's no space here between item name and date purchased and so on. Maybe we can fix that. So let's save the changes we've done so far. We'll make one last change. Like I said, it's up to you what change you want to make. Any modification that improves it. So I'm going to go to the label where the name is, and I'm going to put a space in there and do the same for purchase date, date purchased, and for serial number we'll put a little space in there. You'll also notice that when we go into these objects here, okay, you have a properties box that opens up, okay, and hopefully we're going to have a chance to look at this in the next module, module 4. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to change one thing only here. Maybe I can change something in the formatting. So I choose item name, the label, I go to format, and then I come down to font size, and let's make that a bigger font. We'll make it 16. So I just clicked on the arrow and chose 16, and I guess that's it. So let's go ahead and see the change. Okay, so we're going to close it, save the change, and we're going to run the form, and there it is. You can see the bigger letters, and you can see everything, all the changes that we made. I'm going to do the same thing now with the report. This is what we have for the report. Not very attractive, okay? So let's say the title at the top. That's the first thing I'm going to change here. We'll close it. We'll come over here and right-click, go to Design View. So I'm going to do something similar in the report. Okay, so instead of having it all the way over there, maybe I'll put the top label over there, stretch it out, and I'll change the text in it. Items in my home. Okay, we made a change. Let's take a look. So we're going to go ahead and run this now. Items in our home. What else can we do here? Well, we can see there's a big gap here between the room and the cost. Okay, we can change that. Okay, we can push the cost a little bit closer and maybe the date purchased a little bit closer. So let's close what we have here, save the changes, right click, go into Design View. Okay, now we have to, this part can be a little bit confusing here. This is the header. That's where we have the main label for the whole report. And then every page is going to have a header. Okay, so if this is a multi-page report, okay, then we are going to repeat the room and the cost name right at the top of every page, and then we repeat on the next page and see the exact same information. So let me shrink this down. Room. Okay, I'm going to select both. Okay, I'm going to hold down the Control key and select room down there, and I'm going to resize them both together. Okay, there we go. Let's do the same thing with cost. I'm going to click on cost. That's the label. And then I'm going to hold the Control key down, and this is where the actual cost is being displayed. So up here, that's only the label. The cost itself is going to be displayed right here. I have both of them selected. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to drag them over to the right, and I might even want to resize a little bit so I get that double arrow and shrink it down a bit. And I'm just going to keep going on like this. So I'm going to hold the Control key down again. So that's the item name. Pull it over. I see it's really wide, so let's, make it, change it, and then go and do the same thing with date purchased. Okay, and there we go. So we've kind of moved it over. So let's go ahead and generate the report now and see what it looks like. So you can see it's a little bit more compact. Okay, and there are many things we can do to improve the appearance. It's up to you. So for example, page numbers. If you have multiple pages that you're printing out, that's a good idea. But for whatever reason, you don't want the date to be displayed. So that's the last modification I'm going to make, or, one more modification for sure. Let's see what else we can do here. You see over here, date purchased. That's not big enough. That got cut off, so we got to fix that one. Maybe put a space here between item and name. Okay, so it's really up to you. So let's go ahead and make some of those modifications. Click Save. Okay, go into Design View. So this now here on the page footer, that's the date. I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. Then I'm going to come up here for date purchased, stretch it out, and then put a space in there. So for date purchase, I think I stretched it out too much. Let me shrink it down. There we go. Item name, again, we need a space in there. Okay, so just fish around and see what kind of changes that you want to make here. And I think we're ready. That's the last change I'm going to do. So we're going to take a look, and already it's looking a little bit better. Oops, I forgot. I still needed a space in there. We're now ready to upload or back up the database. So let's go to File. Let's click Save. Okay, in case you're not sure where it happens to be saved, you can look very carefully, and it will tell you that you saved it to your desktop in a folder called Databases. So I'm going to go there right now. I'm going to close the database, make sure all the changes are saved, okay, and then we're going to go to the desktop, and we're going to find the folder called Databases. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. And double click on it, and there it is. That's the final file that you will be uploading for part 7 when it says back up your database.